The classy pin-up woman stood there, fist pushed into her hip. A quick, sweeping gaze confirmed she wore no ring. She donned a fine black skirt with a frilly lace blouse, one that plunged a bit at the top, revealing perfect, full breasts, pushed into a tight, deep cleavage. The kids all ogled her, then looked to Con expectantly. "Hello?" the woman called with more than a tad of annoyance in her voice. "Breathe, boys and girls," Con repeated, closing his eyes again. "Push out all distractions." "Can you hear me, or are you just ignoring me?" Con peered through his slit eyelids at the irked woman. "Of course we can hear you. It's not like you're easy to ignore." He gave her a mischievous smile. "I was just waiting for you to be polite. May I help you?" She huffed, pursing her lips. "Yes, actually. My clients over there are trying to take advantage of the dying light for their wedding photos. Would you mind moving out of the way for a bit while we get this done? It shouldn't take more than 30 or so minutes. Thanks." And just like that, she began walking off. 30 minutes is all I have for my class." The woman stopped and turned around. "And I do apologize for that. However, the last thing my client needs are a bunch of surfers in the background of their commemorative photos. So could you please move a little further down the beach, or maybe that way toward that shack?" She pointed to his little shop and cottage combo, the big Kelthuna, 30 feet back on the sand. "So, what you're saying is, you want me to teach my surfing class where there's no actual water?" Con raised his eyebrows for full communication. The woman, finer than all the ripe grapes in Green Valley, finer than all the paintings in Paris, crossed her arms over her ample bosom and raised one perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "What I want," she said, taking calculated steps toward him, "is for you to please move before you ruin my bride's photos. Understood?" "Hellcat." Con broke his stretch pose and stepped up slowly to Miss Fancy Pants until he was inches away. God, she was insanely beautiful. A porcelain doll with dark hair, dark eyes, and those lips. "Your bride ruined them all on her own by wearing that dress, I assure you." Con chuckled to himself. Then the children joined in the laughter, tucking their faces into their shoulders and giggling along. "Did you—" The woman cocked her head and narrowed her lovely, lovely eyes. "Did you just call me hellcat?" "Sweet thing, pussycat, hell on heels." He focused on the ruby fullness of her lips, the way she bit the inner lining of them softly, the way her breath hitched just right. He loved the effect he had on even the cockiest of women. "I don't have time for games," she hissed. "Just move from the beach." If all he'd seen in her eyes was disdain and demand just then, he would have found a polite way to tell her to go to hell. But as he studied her, Con saw the trembling of her lower lip and the shine of panic in her eyes. He also noticed the way her gaze kept fighting the temptation to rove over his body, and the pretty blush that had suffused her face, which he was choosing to believe was from physical attraction rather than annoyance. Poor lass was obviously just trying to do right by her client, although she really did need to learn to chill out a bit. Nothing life or death was happening for feck's sake. Still, before he gave her what she wanted, Con couldn't resist teasing her a bit more. "What's the magic word?" he asked like a primary school teacher. Behind him, Mikkel giggled in delight. The fiery woman stared at him for a heartbeat or two, and he almost grinned at her stubbornness, wondering if she'd managed to choke the word out. "Please," she finally muttered through clenched teeth. He smiled at her in victory. "Your wish is my command, wedding lady," he said with a gallant bow, then picked up his surfboard from the sand and hoisted it over his head. "Come on, maggots. Let's move down the beach. I heard nicer people live down that way." He glanced back at the wedding planner, who somehow managed to walk all the way back 10 meters of sand toward the giant rocks in 8-centimeter heels, without wavering or falling once. Now that takes total class, Con thought, and some serious boss swag.